If I told you that 6 small changes in your fingernails could warn you about a stroke before it happens, would you believe me? And how many of us look at our nails every single day, trim them, clean them, paint them, yet have no idea what signals our body is desperately trying to send? What worries me most isn't the sudden dramatic stroke that strikes without warning. The real danger is the quiet warnings that appear weeks or even months earlier, but almost everyone ignores. No pain, no dizziness, no numbness, just a faint ridge, a slight color shift, a nail that grows a little slower than usual. Changes so subtle that most older adults assume they're just aging. But in medicine, nothing is just aging when it involves circulation to the brain, oxygen delivery, and early stroke risk. Your nails, the part of your body you see the most, are actually a mini health report, revealing the earliest signs of weakened blood flow, rising inflammation, or even tiny micro-clots long before the brain shows symptoms. And this is exactly why you need to watch this video until the end. In the next few minutes, you'll learn the 6 nail warning signs seniors overlook the most, but that neurologists and stroke specialists pay attention to immediately. These signs can reveal trouble in your circulation before your brain ever raises a red flag. You'll learn mild, early whispers, which signs are red alerts, and how to check your nails in just 10 seconds at home. If you're over 55, or you care for someone who is, what you're about to hear may be one of the most important health messages you've received this year. So take a moment. Look down at your own fingernails right now. What are they trying to tell you? Sign number 1, pale or washed out nails. When blood stops sending signals to your fingertips. Take a close look at your nails for a moment. Healthy nails usually have a gentle pink tone, not bright, not flashy, just a soft color that tells you blood is flowing the way it should. But when the nails start looking pale, washed out, chalky, or almost milky white, that's not just a cosmetic change. That's your circulation sending a quiet warning. From a medical standpoint, this happens when the tiny capillaries under the nail, the ones responsible for carrying oxygen-rich blood, aren't receiving enough oxygen. When oxygen drops, the nail bed loses color, just like a plant losing its green when it doesn't get enough sunlight. And here's something most people never think about. Your fingertips are one of the furthest points from both your heart and your brain. That means they're often the first place to show trouble when blood flow weakens. It's the same reason your hands and feet get cold before the rest of your body. They're the first to feel the consequences of poor circulation. So what does pale nail color have to do with stroke risk? Quite a lot, actually. When seniors consistently show pale nails, it may reflect reduced blood flow to the brain, thicker or sluggish blood, or an imbalance in hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen throughout the body. If your nails aren't getting enough oxygen, there's a good chance your brain isn't either. And low oxygen blood is one of the silent contributors to both clot formation and reduced vascular resilience. In short, pale nails often signal a circulation slowdown long before symptoms like dizziness or weakness ever appear. It's a small change with a much bigger meaning. But color isn't the only early clue your nails reveal. Sometimes, a different change appears even before the pink color fades, a shift in texture that most seniors overlook completely. Sign number 2, deepening vertical ridges, a warning that your blood vessels are under stress. Most seniors notice vertical ridges on their nails at some point in life. That part isn't unusual. What is unusual is when those ridges suddenly become deeper, sharper, or more defined within just a few weeks or months. That change is worth paying attention to because your body doesn't create those lines without a reason. Medically speaking, deepening ridges often reflect a breakdown in the normal production of keratin, the protein that forms your nails. And why does that breakdown happen? One of the biggest culprits is systemic inflammation. When the blood vessels supplying the nail matrix become irritated or inflamed, they can't deliver nutrients as smoothly as before. The result is an uneven growth pattern, and those uneven patterns show up as vertical grooves. Think of it this way. If the blood vessels in such a tiny area like your nails are struggling, it's very unlikely that the blood vessels in your brain, which require even more oxygen and stability, are completely fine. Nails are simply easier to see, so they reveal the problem first. Now, what does this have to do with stroke risk? Quite a bit. Chronic, low-grade inflammation is one of the strongest predictors of vascular problems in older adults. It stiffens arteries, irritates vessel walls, and increases the chances of forming micro-clots, tiny clots that may not cause symptoms at first, but can lead to much more serious events later. Deepening ridges are sometimes one of the very first external signs that this inflammation is building inside the body. And here's the important part. These ridges don't appear overnight. They form quietly, slowly, like the rings on a tree trunk during harsh weather. Your nails are recording what your blood vessels have been going through. But those grooves aren't the only thing your nails use to warn you. Sometimes the message becomes even clearer, and it shows up as a strange change in color, a signal far more urgent than texture alone. Sign number 3, unusual nail discoloration. When your blood can no longer deliver enough oxygen to the brain. Color is one of the most honest storytellers in the human body. Healthy nails carry a gentle pink tone, a sign that oxygen-rich blood is circulating smoothly. But when nails begin turning bluish, purplish, grayish, milky white, or patchy and uneven, that shift is far more meaningful than most people realize. It's a quiet signal that oxygen delivery is starting to drop. Scientifically, this happens because the color of your nails is a reflection of the oxygen level in the blood flowing underneath. When tissues don't receive enough oxygen, their color fades or shifts towards blue and gray. But here's a detail many seniors never hear. Your fingertips react to low oxygen faster than your lips or skin. Why? Because the body protects the core organs first. When oxygen levels fall, the body sends whatever it has left to the heart and brain, pulling it away from the edges, including your nails. That's why a drop in oxygen often shows up in your fingertips before anywhere else. So what does this mean medically? Discoloration can be a sign of reduced blood oxygenation, unstable blood pressure, or a heart that isn't pumping efficiently enough to push oxygen upward. When the heart struggles, or when blood vessels stiffen, blood moves more slowly, and slow-moving blood simply carries less oxygen. Over time, this reduced oxygen flow can weaken brain function and increase stroke risk long before major symptoms ever appear. Nail discoloration isn't just a cosmetic concern. It's a window into your vascular system, showing you exactly what's happening beneath the surface. How well your blood carries oxygen, how hard your heart is working, and whether your brain is receiving what it needs to stay sharp and safe. But here's the surprising part. Sometimes the nails don't change color at all. Sometimes the warning comes in a quieter form, a slowdown. A nail that grows noticeably slower than it used to. And that slowdown reveals even more than you might think. Sign number 4. Nails growing slower than usual. A subtle sign your brain isn't getting the fuel it needs. Most people don't track how fast their nails grow, but your nails quietly keep a record of your circulation. When blood flow, nutrients, and oxygen are plentiful, nails grow at a predictable pace. But when you notice your nails taking much longer than usual to grow, sometimes barely growing over several months, that slowdown is more than an age-related change. It's often a sign that something deeper is happening inside your body. Biologically, nail growth depends on 3 key factors: oxygen, nutrients, and microcirculation. When any of these weaken, nail growth slows down. For many seniors, the issue starts with mild anemia, low iron or low hemoglobin levels, which reduces the amount of oxygen delivered to your cells. Then there's microcirculation, the tiny blood vessels that feed both your nails and your brain. When these vessels become sluggish, stiff, or narrowed, the nail matrix receives less blood, and the nails grow thin, weak, or painfully slow. Add nutritional gaps like low protein, low B vitamins, or chronic inflammation, and the slowdown becomes even more obvious. So why does this matter for stroke risk? Because a reduced rate of cell regeneration, including nail cells, often mirrors a drop in the quality of blood flow to the brain. When the body can't deliver enough oxygen and nutrients to support something as simple as nail growth, it's a strong indication that the brain may also be experiencing reduced support. Over time, this can increase vulnerability to vascular issues, cognitive decline, and yes, stroke risk. Slow nail growth isn't dramatic. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't interrupt your day. But in many cases, it's the body whispering, your circulation is slowing. Your cells aren't receiving enough fuel. And while this slowdown is concerning, it still falls under the category of early warnings, signs that give you time to respond. But not all nail changes are so gentle. Some changes are the body sounding a real alarm, signs that something more serious may already be unfolding beneath the surface. Sign number 5. Dark vertical lines or small dark spots. A red flag for possible micro-clots. Every bruise has a story, but when a dark line appears under your nail without any injury, that story becomes far more important. These thin brown or black streaks, sometimes called splinter lines, can look harmless at first, but when they show up suddenly on one or more nails and you know you didn't bump your hand, that's your cue to pay close attention. Medically, these streaks may be linked to tiny capillary bleeds, meaning the smallest blood vessels under the nail have ruptured. But more concerning is another possibility. They may reflect the presence of micro-clots, tiny fragments of blood that get trapped inside small vessels. If you imagine the bloodstream as a highway, micro-clots are like grains of sand stuck in the lanes, too small to cause a traffic jam on their own, but disruptive enough to slow things down and irritate the vessel walls. And why does this matter? Because micro-clots are often the first step before a larger, more dangerous clot forms.
They can also reflect inflammation or damage happening inside the blood vessels, not just in the fingers, but potentially in the brain as well. When neurologists see these streaks, they often think about circulation problems that may be unfolding quietly, especially in older adults. This is why these tiny lines can be an early warning for stroke risk. A micro-clot in your fingertip is not the problem itself. It's the message. It tells you the blood may be flowing less smoothly, the vessel walls may be stressed, or the body is struggling to keep the blood thin and moving. And if that's happening in a small vessel you can see, it's worth asking what might be happening in the vessels you can't see, especially the ones feeding the brain. But as concerning as these streaks are, they are still early signals, warnings you can catch before anything becomes severe.
Because there is one nail change that's even more serious. A sign that the body has been adapting to chronic low oxygen for much longer than you may have realized. Sign number 6, nails curving downward. A sign your body has been low on oxygen for far too long. When nails begin to curve downward like a small dome or a rounded spoon, and the tips of the fingers appear fuller or more swollen than before, this isn't just a cosmetic change. This is one of the strongest nail-based signals that your body has been coping with chronic low oxygen for a long period of time. It's not subtle, it's not sudden. It's the body adapting. And adaptation always means something deeper has been going on behind the scenes. From a medical perspective, clubbing happens because the body starts producing extra soft tissue at the fingertips in an attempt to improve oxygen delivery. Think of it as the body's way of creating more real estate for blood flow when oxygen levels keep dropping. It's a compensation mechanism, not a solution, but an effort to help. This type of nail change often points toward issues involving the lungs, heart, or brain circulation. When the lungs can't supply enough oxygen, or when the heart can't pump it efficiently, the tissues farthest from the core begin to change shape. The fingertips swell, the nails curve, and the message becomes clear. Your oxygen supply has not been adequate for a long time. So what does this mean in terms of stroke risk? Clubbing is not an early warning sign. It's a sign that the circulation system has been under significant strain. It suggests long-term impairment in oxygen delivery, which places tremendous pressure on the heart and blood vessels. This kind of environment increases the likelihood of vascular complications, including stroke, especially if other symptoms or nail changes are present. Seeing this change doesn't mean panic, but it absolutely means action. Clubbing tells you that your body has been compensating quietly for months or even years, and now it's time to pay attention to what your nails have been trying to say. And the good news is, you don't need medical equipment to understand where you stand today, because there is a simple 10-second nail test you can do right at home. And it gives you immediate insight into how your circulation is doing. You don't need a doctor's office, a machine, or a medical degree to understand what your nails are trying to tell you. In fact, with just 10 seconds, you can get a quick snapshot of how well your blood, oxygen, and nutrients are reaching your fingers, and, by extension, your brain. Here's a simple, gentle test designed especially for older adults. 1. Check the color. Hold your hand up in natural light. Look closely at the color of your nails. A warm, soft pink usually means blood is flowing well. If your nails look pale, bluish, gray, or blotchy, that may be an early sign your oxygen levels aren't reaching the fingertips as they should. This alone is worth paying attention to. 2. Check the elasticity. Gently tap the tip of your nail against your other fingertip. A healthy nail has a bit of flexibility, not too soft, not too stiff. If the nail bends too easily or feels unusually rigid, it can reflect changes in hydration, circulation, or the health of the nail matrix. 3. The circulation press test. Press down on the center of your nail until it turns white. Hold for 1 second, then release. Count how long it takes for the pink color to return. Ideally, it comes back within 1 to 2 seconds. If the color is slow to return, it may mean your blood is moving sluggishly, an early sign that your microcirculation needs support. 4. Observe the ridges and edges. Take a moment to scan the surface. Are the ridges new, deeper than a few months ago? Are the edges lifting or splitting? These small details can tell you whether inflammation, nutrient deficiencies, or oxygen issues have been building quietly over time. This little test isn't meant to diagnose anything. It's simply a gentle way to reconnect with your body, a quick daily check-in to see how your circulation is doing. And sometimes, these tiny clues at the surface can reveal what's happening much deeper inside. Your body is never silent. It never stops sending signals. It never stops trying to protect you. The real challenge is that most of us were never taught how to listen. Your fingernails, something you look at dozens of times a day, might be delivering messages your heart, your lungs, and even your brain have been trying to send long before symptoms appear. So take a moment today. Look down at your nails, not with fear, but with awareness, with curiosity, with the understanding that your body is on your side, always trying to guide you before danger arrives. Checking your nails takes just 10 seconds, but those 10 seconds can change the entire trajectory of your health. And if you noticed even one of the 6 signs we talked about, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. A small change today could be the early clue that keeps your circulation strong and your brain protected tomorrow. If any part of this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your experience. Have you ever noticed pale nails, new ridges, a strange color you couldn't explain? Share it in the comments. Your story might help someone else pay attention to their own health. And if this video helped you understand your body a little better, pass it along. Someone you care about may be just one sign away from catching a problem early. Your health matters. Your independence matters. And the more you learn to listen to your body, the safer and stronger you become.